Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to go over some of the info CloudSuite differences that apply to supply management. Today, me and my coworker Lauren will be presenting this. A little bit about myself. I have over 18 years. Well, my name's Diana Terrio. I have over 18 years in healthcare supply chain experience. I'm certified in CloudSuite supply management. I specialize in supply chain mergers and acquisitions. I'm based out of New Orleans, Louisiana. My favorite things to do outside of work is spend time with my family, especially my 2 grandkids. And I like to take quick trips down to the Mississippi Gulf Coast to do a little gambling.
Hello, my name is Lauren Beaker. I am a senior supply management business analyst. I have 2 years experience in supply chain management, S3, and I am certified in CloudSuite supply management. I work as a business analyst for support projects as well as CloudSuite implementations. I am based out of Baltimore, Maryland, and 2 of my favorite things to do outside of work are camping, especially in the spring and the fall when it's not too cold or hot. I also love to craft, any type of craft. I've probably tried it. A little bit about us is we are a nationwide practice of full-time consultants, project managers, and technical architects. We were founded in 1999, and we've over 20 years experience of ERP, ECM, advanced data capture experience. We have offices located in Baltimore, Tampa, Kansas City, and Arizona.
A few housekeeping tips before we get started. Today's presentation is scheduled to last 40 to 50 minutes, including the question and answer section. Participants will be kept on mute. Questions can be submitted via the chat questions module at any time. Slides and a recording of this presentation will be available.
Okay, so for our agenda today, we're going to go over the differences between version 10 and CloudSuite. We're going to go over the navigation, universal features, inventory management and the item master, requisitions, purchasing, EDI, and contract management. So a little bit about the navigation. The first big thing is the application menu. It lists all the applications that can be accessed. It is a drop-down module with module buttons. So it saves on the real estate, and the standard supply chain module is under the Infor CloudSuite financials. The next big thing is the flow chart. So as you can see, again, it's the drop-down menu. Items under each grouping, you hit the plus sign and it will open it up and you will see more items that applies to that area. So replacing the ICFL, the POFL, and that was in version 10 and prior. So the next thing are form numbers and tokens are gone. So all forms are listed in a drop-down view, as I showed you before, based on the role you're currently accessing. So depending on what role you have, you'll have different access to forms. You can also use the search field at the top to search something. So if you want to find a purchase order, when you type it in, it will bring up everything that has purchase order in the form name, but it will be sorted based on your user role. So just a couple quick tips is bookmarks. So when you're on any screen, you can save the bookmark at the top and you will either see your favorites or you're able to add it. Also, we use a lot of icons now for your print files. You don't have to go to each report to go to print files. You can just click at the top. Your notifications, my in basket, my jobs, my reports, and my actions. Also, at the bottom of the screen, there is a settings of the user ribbon, and you'll be able to change the color scheme. So if you want black writing on a white background or white writing on a black background, you're able to do that. Another big thing is you can now use the back button in your browser to return to the previous screen. So the drill around now opens a new tab for each selection. So this gives you the ability to navigate through the system without losing your original record. So as soon as you hit the close button at the top of your browser, your record will still be there. The list view is similar to V10, but now you're able to add filtering features, and it's customizable. So you can add, different columns to your list view.
Universal features. We're going to dive into the universal features of FSM, beginning with the role-based functionality. What does role-based functionality mean? Now, all security roles come with a preset role-based access. It's easily customizable. Users can be assigned to multiple roles, and they can switch between roles using the application switcher. Roles ensure the user has access to the information and the system resources they need to perform their job, but only the resources they need. Here you see a listing of some of the roles and the access for each. If you'll notice, the buyer role can manage purchase requests and purchase orders, as well as list processes, which mainly contain reports that the buyer would access. However, the purchasing manager is able to do all of the buyer functions, but they have more control over the month-end processes, and they also have the ability to create new buyers. We have another page of the role-based functionality. Here you'll just see a few more, and be mindful, this is just a few out of the hundreds of roles that are currently preset into FSM, and be mindful that the security can be customized for each role. Dynamic attributes. I really like this. It's information that's tied to the employee business class record. So now you would go to the business employee class, and it is a shared process. So instead of going to RQ04 to create a requester, you can actually you would go to the business class record, and as you see, they have buttons here: create requester, create buyer, create a finance resource. So you just click on the role you would like to create. All of the details for that employee cascade into your record. So it makes it very clean and easy to create. And all of your name, phone number, email address, they will go over based on the employee's business class. Application switcher. Lauren had mentioned earlier about the application switcher. This is where you're going to navigate between the roles that you have been assigned. So what's at the top here will be the role you're currently accessing. If you use the drop-down arrow, all of the roles that you have been assigned will appear. Only the roles that you are assigned will appear. And each role also comes with its out-the-box landing page. So what are landing pages? The landing pages, like I said, are based on your current role. So in this role, I am a buyer. So my landing pages consist of my unreleased purchase orders, my unapproved purchase orders, the open to receive, past the delivery dates. It's just a high-level view into critical areas for that role. It can be customized, and it also provides links to other areas within the application. So if you see under my unreleased purchase order, the purchase order is blue. Anything that is blue is a link. You can click on that and it will automatically bring you to that purchase order. List view. List views, if anyone works within V10 Mingle, it's the same field as the Mingle list view. It provides an easy way to search. You can manipulate or change any of these lists with ease. One thing you want to be mindful of is if you are searching for an unreleased requisition, you would choose the unreleased tab at the top, search for that, purchase order. If you don't know the status of the purchase order, you can go to all, search for that purchase order, and it will give you the status of each purchase order. You can also change the number of records you view, and all of the columns are customizable. You can delete them, you can rearrange the order, and you can also add columns. It's very easy to customize the list views, and they will stay once you leave the page. If you come back at a later date, your view will stay customized. Wizards. Wizards exist throughout the supply management, including contract management, purchasing, and requisitions. So what it does is it takes creating a purchase order, a contract, or a requisition into a 3-step phase. First, you would create the header, then you would create the lines, then you would view and release it. It really streamlines the process for creating a contract, a purchase order, or a requisition. Accounting, this is one of the features that I do like. The Geo Strength is all now in one stream. You don't have to flip screens to see what project is attached to that PO line. It will all be listed in the distribution account. And it's also customizable. So, you know, you have accounting entity here. If you go by company, you could change accounting entity to read company. Just like accounting unit, if your facility doesn't go by accounting unit, you call it a cost center, you can change the language to fit your facility. So this is a really good feature within FSM, and again, customizable to your facility. Comments now reside in a new business class, and it allows for comments and attachments for a lot of different screens. Here we've outlined some screens that in the past might not have allowed a comment in or attachment, that you can now have a comment attached at the item level, at the G10 level, at the receiving header level. So you have quite a few screens now that are enabled for comments or attachments. So attachments, it's just what it sounds like. One of the best things with the attachments, I think, is attaching an item, a picture to an item. When you attach a picture to an item, as in this display above, you get to really see what you're ordering. It makes it more an Amazon feel where you're actually looking at the particular item you're ordering. It gives the requester some confidence that they are ordering the correct item. You can also attach a picture to the employee record. So that will be displayed for any role that the employee is assigned. So when their requester comes up, it would be their picture that would come up also, because it does cascade to each record the employee would be assigned. This is, I really, really like this feature with the, and it's as easy as right-clicking on the, where the picture goes, you browse. If it's on your desktop or a file, you click it and it just uploads it right to your item master record. A new business class is also the sample document template. Sample documents, they have sample documents in there for contracts, purchase orders, intercompany billing. They also have some samples for spreadsheets for uploading to the Spreadsheet Designer, some templates. They also have fact sheets. We have attached a PDF of a RPI purchase order that we customized for our facility. So all of the sample document templates are easily customizable. And the next thing that follows suit with this is the fact sheets. Fact sheets are really just job aids. They explain the various business processes in detail. It's like the help screen. So currently, the fact sheet that I put up here, because a lot of people, ask about the vendor return process. If you go to the fact sheet for the vendor return process, and it will give you a step-by-step how-to for that business process. They have a ton out there, and they are really useful. Interfaces. The interface now uses a new format for processing. Incoming records are now grouped by run groups. So incoming records can also now come through either one or multiple business classes. Your purchase order header, your purchase order lines typically reside in two business classes. They now you can class your incoming records through one or multiple. You are also able to view a success or failure on all incoming and outgoing records. If you do see you have a failure, you can go to that particular record. You can fix the failure in the raw data, and then you can interface it again, and it should run to successful completion. Spreadsheet Designer. Spreadsheet Designer is one of my favorite enhancements, and I was very against Spreadsheet Designer because I was an add-ins girl, and I knew add-ins, frontwards and backwards. So then they hit me with Spreadsheet Designer. I really, really like Spreadsheet Designer. It's a very robust tool. It makes add-ins actually look difficult because it's so easy to use. One of the main things that have changed is anyone who uses add-ins knows if you want the field name or the business class, you would go to that field, you would Control Shift O, and that would give you this field information. That has now changed to Control Shift left click. Control Shift left click will bring you the information that you're seeing on this page, and it gives you the business class to map your upload or your query from. It also will give you the field size and the field description if it's an alpha only or alphanumeric. So getting into the ISD queries. So they work a lot like add-ins, but they are more robust. First, you would select your data area. You go to Excel, just like you would add-ins. Here you would open up the Info Spreadsheet Designer. You would select your data area. After you select your data area, then you would select the business class that you would like to run the query on, be it vendor, item master. It's easily searchable. Up here in the field where it says vendor, you can type in item. Your item will come up for your item master screen. After you select the business class, all fields within that form will display below. And as you see, the fields, some of them have quite a number of fields. Every field that you see in the yellow, orange font is a required field on that form. Again, if you use the search at the bottom, if you're looking for the tax ID number, you don't want to scroll through it, you can just type in tax right here in this search box, and it will bring you directly to that field name. So once you set your parameters, all you would have to do is click Insert, and then you would click Refresh. It will insert a column for every field you chose, and it will bring you back your data. You can also filter if you only want a particular range of vendors or vendors that were created before a certain date. They do have a filter field, and we have a little display for it here on your slide. You do have a filter field, and it's easily filterable. So moving on to the ISD upload, again, it's the same feeling as your query. You would select your data area. Here you would also select your business class. Then you would have to select what action do you want to take. Do you want to create these records? Do you want to delete them? Do you want to update them? Anything anything that can be done to that business class, you will have the option. So you no longer map by the FC numbers, like, F3 was this field. It's all mapped just based on the field name. Again, when you are inserting and upload, you're going to get all of the fields from that particular business class. So up here, our description is purchase from location. So you'll get every single field that resides in the purchase from location business class. Again, the yellow, orange writing are your mandatory fields. Once you pick your fields, you insert it. It will insert those fields on your upload. You can enter your data, and then you can map it. One cool feature I find is if you're doing a mass change, let's say you change in on your item master. So you can pull the data from, you can do a query, pull all of the data from your item master with that particular manufacturer code. You can change the manufacturer code and then automatically insert and upload. When you insert the upload, that upload will automatically map based on the fields from your query. So there's really no mapping there. Info will automatically map all of your fields. You would just insert your upload and click change.
Thank you for pointing that out, and also for the so for this example that I have, I just focused on the supplies.
Okay, now we're going to go on to inventory management and the item master. So one of the biggest things are now all inventory transactions are performed using one screen. So instead of using your IC20, IC21, or IC24, it's going to be, you're just going to go to the inventory transaction and you're going to choose the document type in the header. And once you save that, it will add the fields to choose which, the fields associated with that type of transaction. Another good thing are the valid unit of measures. So this displays in the transaction only the valid unit of measures for that item. So when adding a line to a purchase order, if you click the magnifying glass on the UOM field, it will display all valid purchase unit of measures. So when adding a line, oh, sorry, that repeated. So as you can see here, when you bring it up, it will just show you bag, box, each, instead of all of them on your item master. The next thing is descriptions. So description field 1 and 2 have increased from 30 to 60 characters, and description field 3 is now known as the long description with a 350 character field size. Oh, another thing you can do is you can now add photos that Diana mentioned before. So with items, you can always do it so they know I want the, especially in healthcare, they use the sanitizing wipes. They want the one with the purple top. They don't know which one it is. They just know it's purple. So that's a good thing to do. The next thing are the manage item worksheets. So with this, when you choose your item master, it brings up a dashboard of everything you need. So it will show you vendor items that are attached, any purchase order lines, valid unit of measures, the location balances, par locations, as well as what contracts these are on, if they're on any. So the next thing you can do is you are able to copy an item and it will pull over all of the replenishment information. So when you copy an item, you can copy item locations and you can also copy the item location reorder information, which is quite nice. So you don't have to do an upload and then go in, and when you do your IC12s, upload all of that item replenishment information each time.
Requisitions, let's see.
Hey guys, there's a question from Mary Chavez. Do you want to take that now, or do you want to say that at the end?
Sure, because I'm having technical difficulties right now.
Okay, perfect. So It looks like you said if you change your view, but then you have to clear your browser cache, will the changes still stay? I am not positive for the online version, but I do know if you make those changes in Rich Client, the online version will still show. I would need to double check on the online version when the changes are made there and not in Rich Client.
Okay. So requisitions. Now we will dive into requisitions, the RQ and the RSS. Let's see. So requisition self-service, RSS. This had been known previously many years ago as RSS, and then they changed it to RQC. Now they went back to RSS. So it's just requisition self-service. Much of the functionality has remained the same here. Your RSS homepage will display your default company and requesting location. A new request, if you click on new request, you are going to get your search catalog, which you can either search the catalog, add from a shopping list, or add a special or service item. If your facility also uses punch-out, that would be an option here to use a punch-out vendor. It also comes with a landing page that will show you the status of your requisitions, recently requested items, as well as any shopping lists that you may have. Requisition. One of the main things now with creating a requisition, and it applies to creating a purchase order, the FC codes are no longer. You don't have to put an A on the line for add or a C on the line for change. They no longer exist within FSM. It has a different look, but overall the field of it remains about the same. When creating a line on a requisition, you can choose to create a row, which only gives you certain fields, or you can create a new, you can open the line, which gives you a more detailed look. You can put in more information. I prefer when I'm creating a requisition to open a new line. It gives you more of a feel of the old RQ10. Requisition statuses now, they just use a more specific language. So if you're looking up your requisition status, you're going to get unreleased, needs approval, processed, or closed. They just went with a more universal, specific language for this. This is one of my all-time favorites, as I spent many years being a buyer and I spent many years in the MMIS role. And this was one of the things, how do we add new items to the system? How do we add new items? Do they email them to you? Do they call you and say, you know, they want this new item added? Now a requester has the capability to request a new item to be added through the system. So they would go to request new item. They would fill out everything, all of the information they have, everything with the red exclamation asterisk is required, but the other fields are optional. They can attach a picture to it. They can attach a quote to it. They can give you all of the information that you would need. Once they submit this request, it would actually follow an IPA flow to be approved. That's not saying it's automatically going to be approved. Maybe, you know, the item they're requesting is not allowed in your system for some reason. So it's not automatically approved, but it streamlines adding a new item. You can also do that with new vendor. A lot of times the departments called a serviceman, or they found something online, they want to add a new vendor. You know, do they call purchasing, AP, who handles this? Well, now they can request this new vendor again through FSM. They fill out all of the information required. They can attach any attachments if they have the vendor's W-9 form. They can submit that as an attachment. They fill out all of the pertinent information. Again, this will follow an IPA flow based on your facility to finance to get approved. And then once finance adds the vendor, then purchasing would, of course, add the purchasing vendor. So now this is all automated. This is a very good tool within FSM. So the RSS config file, we really don't even have an RSS config file. We used to have the RQC config file, which really took a technical lead basically to configure. Now all of the setup from RSS is done through the inventory company. So as you see this attachment here, it's inventory company, and one of the tabs on the left-hand side is RSS. This is where you would configure RSS for that particular company. It gives you your display options in an easy format where you can choose to show or hide what fields you would like to be displayed. So if you want search to catalog display, you would show it. If you don't want them for some reason to see the accounting information, you can hide it. You can hide the vendor. So it's easily customizable through just show and hide fields. And again, it's done at the inventory company level. Punch out configuration, and I think I keep saying this a lot, that I find FSM has made a lot of the setup easy. They really simplified a lot of the forms. Punch out is one. The setup configuration you do it on the form, and I'll get to that in the next slide, but the setup configuration is on a form, not via the RQC config file. So that way anyone can really do this. We have some new fields, some field mapping and other data, which is the attributes on both the vendor and the requester side. Again, they have really simplified configuration, and now they have a new form here, and this is actually your punch out configuration form. So as you see, it's easy to configure based on your organization, their organization, the DUNS numbers, the network IDs, the shared secret password to the organization to access their websites, the website setup, their punch out supplier. So as you can see, punch out has really been simplified. So now before we get on to PO, it looks like we might have some questions. Yeah, Travis, I see your questions. Do all requisitions go through IPA flow for approval, or can you approve them without the use of an IPA flow? Yes, you can approve them. It's going to be based on your facility. Most of the facilities that I've worked with implementing, we do have an IPA flow, but if not, you would approve via the requisition itself. If you have access and security to approve, you can go to the requisition itself and approve the requisition. So it's not a requirement to have an IP flow, but it is best practices.
And
so,
Jen,
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask, Jen, it says, can the fields in the new item request be altered? Do you mean when creating the new item, or do you mean the title of the field? So instead of vendor, it says
supplier.
Yes.
Right. Can a field for latex be added? You know, I haven't received that question before. I know this is an out-the-box request, but I'm sure Infor could do, and I'm sure that's a good example, because now in the industry with this, you know, latex allergy, I'm sure Infor could install a enhancement to add that field or any other fields, but for you to be able to configure this field, I'm not sure that answer, but I would go with no, it's out the form. It's an out-the-box form at this point. But, Infor could definitely do a enhancement to add fields.
I do know in CloudSuite, when creating an item, there is a checkbox for latex. Under the miscellaneous options tab, I don't know offhand if it's in the new item request, but you can add that it's latex.
Right. Yeah, it's not, the new item request form here. If you want to go back and pull it up, Lauren, just go back to slide 41. I think it's my slide 41. Go down.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, so, that field does not reside here currently, but I would think it can be modified. And yes, Stephanie Cole just came to the rescue. It absolutely can be modified per configuration console to add additional information in our requirements.
Yeah. And Bonnie, it says, can the access to the new item request be restricted by role assignment? Yes, it's assigned to only certain roles. So the AP manager or the payables manager is not going to be able to request a new item.
So I don't know if you want to go on, Lauren, and then come back to the questions, just to make sure we get through them.
That's true. Thank you. Okay, on to purchasing. So now the PO number alone is the only unique identifier. You don't need a required release or PO code, and the PO code can be added, removed, or changed. The PO code is really used for reporting purposes now. Okay. So one thing I love about this is the purchase order details rec to check. Matching is my favorite module of CloudSuite or Lawson, and it's very nice to see the rec to check process. So all the details are in one place. On the right-hand side, there's a contacts application. This will display all the details for the purchase order highlighted. So it's only when you've selected a certain requisition or certain purchase order, you're not going to be able to, search from there. But when, that's highlighted, you can see all the way from the requisition down to the bank transaction. Okay, so purchase requests, you can now filter or sort by list view header for all POs, and a red exclamation point. If there's information missing, you'll see a red exclamation point, and when you hover over it, it will tell you what that error is. So that you're
not to interrupt you, but I just want to throw in, this actually replaces the old PO 23 for all your purchasing people out there. This replaced that.
Yeah. And then, it's that easy. You click the purchase order company, you can enter all this information and you can choose to release the PO from here. So the next thing is receiving. So there's now two options. There's create and create receive all. So when you're utilizing the create, you enter the quantity received on the PO lines tab, and this helps with duplicating lines received. And then when using create receive all, the receipt line tabs will auto-populate. So when you hit that, every item will come in and it will have the remaining amount match the received amount.
EDI. Again, sounds like I'm bragging on FSM, but I think they did some really, really good things here to EDI. First and foremost, the carrier now has a new test connection feature. So when you're setting up your carrier, you can make sure before you go live that the connection is working. That's huge. We also have the miscellaneous tab now. So it's your process and your output too. So you want to, on your miscellaneous tab, if you choose a process receiving 856, you want to make sure your output is set to receiving. It makes it very simple with the drop down menu. You also have a history tab now for all of the trading partners and processes. So if you're looking for a specific outgoing or incoming record, you can go to the history tab and find that record there. And the run groups are created for all inbound processes because, as we discussed before, the interfaces now, the incoming interfaces are now run by run groups. So that is automatically, when you set up your trading partner, the run group will automatically be created. Data substitutions, this is my all-time be-all. I said that on a lot of slides, but this is my all-time be-all favorite. No more 22 spaces. So many times when a order fails transmission, it's because you had 23 spaces or you had 21 spaces. You didn't have the 22 spaces. Here, they did away with spaces. You have plus signs. So you create your substitution record based on your ship to. It can be 2 digits, 1 digit, 4 digits, does not matter. Your ship to, a plus sign, your vendor number. Again, it doesn't matter if it's a 3-digit vendor or a 6-digit vendor. Another plus sign, if you're using a purchase from location, here's where you would add that. If you're not using a purchase out of a location, you would use an additional plus sign. And then your company. So you ended ship to plus, vendor number plus, purchase order plus, company. That's it. You cannot mess that up. It's no counting back 22 spaces, because I know I hit that back arrow many a days counting my 22 spaces. Also, if you have an existing record, up here you see Abbott Diagnostic outbound ship to. If I select my actions, from this record, I can automatically create my inbound company and my inbound vendor, or an inbound ship to, or just my inbound company. So this has made it very, very easy to create off the fly new substitution records. Basically, you can create one and then let the system create the other ones based on your original setup. So, like I said, I know I really talked about a lot of the features I like, but being an EDI girl, I really, really like this feature. No more errors based on you didn't have 22 characters.
And we're about to move into content management, but I did just see 2 quick questions. So Gail, can receive all be activated by user? So yes, not by specific user, but we can turn off that receive all function for the system. And Bonnie, yes, you will still have RSS. Receiving self-service. I'll have to check on that for you. I'm thinking requisition self-service. That I will need to check on.
Receiving self-service is still an option, yes.
Okay, so on to contract management.
Okay.
So this is much more robust than the typical out-of-the-box V10 of vendor agreements. So now all the information, it comes embedded in CloudSuite. Contracts and vendors use the same tables. All information is saved as a contract. There are, went too quickly. There are still benefits to implementing contract management ahead of time. It will make it easier to convert to FSM. There are no longer separate contract and vendor agreement tables. It's all just stored on the contract. So standing and blanket contracts. So contract number and an optional PO code will store in the header of every single PO for that contract. So there will be a unique PO number for every order. but the release number will stay with that contract. So, you know, PO 20, PO 57, all of them, as long as the contract is referenced on the PO header, it will go to the contract to be able to track things. So the benefit of this from the purchasing side is managing the PO information will be cleaner and more streamlined. And then from the AP side, if the vendor does not include the release number on the PO, you can still match the order because of that unique PO number. So the next thing, oh, I apologize. Okay. The next thing is contract group customization. So you can customize a contract group based on the business needs. Organization only needs to display processes that are actually used. So creating your contract group gives you some flexibility based on your needs. This benefit, it has the option to not display certain processes on a contract if they're not used by the client. The contract has a lot of tabs, and not displaying processes that are not used can lessen that. The same form has checkboxes to indicate what will show on the contract wizard. So, you know, when you're using the contract wizard, you can choose, do you want to include rebates? Do you want to include milestones? And you can either show them on the wizard or leave them hidden. So any more questions?
Travis had a question. In V10, you were able to blank out the PO number in PO 20 and click create, and it would create a new PO with the existing data. Is that still possible? No, you actually cannot just back out the PO number. And I know I did that many times in PO 20. In V10, just delete the PO number and hit add, and it's going to actually create a new PO. No, that's not a function. You can copy a PO, very easy, one-step process to copy a PO, but you cannot, once the PO is added to the system, you cannot just take that PO back and create a new one.
I think Kelly and Dan have questions that we had skipped over earlier.
Okay.
Okay, Kelly, can the user change the UOM while creating a request? So when creating a request, yes, you can change the unit of measure as long as it's a valid unit of measure on that item master. So when you open that drop down, it will show you the valid unit of measures for that item, and you can change to any of those. But if you need to add, say, you don't have case listed, but you know you can buy them by the case, then you would have to reach out to your item master specialist to get that unit of measure added before you can request that way. So Dan, is the item request process tracked for approvals, rejections for reporting? And can it be used in conjunction with value analysis process?
That is the request new item, and yes, it would be based on your IPA flow. If you wanted to you know, flow to a value analysis team before flowing somewhere else, you could set that up through the IPA flow. I'm not sure if that's what you were really looking for.
Anything else, guys?
And can we report out from the request? I'm not sure, like, what type of reporting are you looking for? If you want to report how many requests were entered in a particular time period, I'm sure you would be able to do that. I don't have that out the box. I can get back with you if that's what you're looking for.
So one good thing about CloudSuite is any list view you can make into a report. You can export it, and so you can do it that way. However, the analysis we would have to look into.
Yeah. Dan, I will find a more definite answer for that, but I'm sure you can report out on it based on a time frame, how many requests were put in the last month. But I will definitely get back with you on that. And also, when viewing a PO in V10, I can only see, that's a good one, because yeah, in V10, you can only see 5 items at a time, and you can only actually see the data for the first item, the description and things like that. Here you can set it, I want to say up to 200 records on your lines tab.
I believe so.
Yes, so you would actually be able to see up to 200 lines based on FSM from the lines tab. So that is another, I struggle to find downfalls here. The only thing that I would say, it's a new look and it takes a while to get used to. But once you work within FSM, and I worked in V10 and in previous versions for years. I've been in Lawson since 2000. So I've worked in Lawson for years. It's a different look, but they have really, really customized a lot of screens, or made the screens customizable and made it very user-friendly. Yes. Dan, your question, can requesters attach documents to item requests? Yes, they can.
You can add attachments to a lot more things, it seems like, in FSM.